Welcome everybody to Callers and Cars. Today's guest caller is Larry Letson, and want to wish everybody it's a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and whatever else it is, depending on where you're at. Which my English teacher would kill me for saying at the end of the sentence. Okay, so Larry, first question is a really
Yes.
simple one. Okay,
Okay.
have you ever called in the bathtub?
No, I don't believe I ever have.
Did you fill in for Flippa one time?
Called in a bathtub. In a wash tub?
Might have been a wash tub. You did
Yeah.
rubber ducky or something, and okay.
Yeah, Flippo used to put me in this doggone wash tub in a pair of shorts that it looked like I was naked. That's all I had on. And I forget some sentimental song about, and he was dressed like an old woman. And he had this scrub brush. And I forget the sentimental song he used to do, but he was giving me a bath. And I think I had an old hat on, so we looked all countrified. Uh, Between my legs sat an ice bucket that had water in it. And so he, he would stick that scrub brush down there like he was washing certain parts of me. And I would kick my legs, and then this water would fly up. I can't remember the song, but yeah, we've done that skit 100 times, all over the place. And he always played this old woman, and every time he'd get close by, I could hear him breathing. And I couldn't help but laugh throughout the whole skit.
Uh,
I wouldn't really call him there. That's what threw me off guard.
okay.
I just kind I would just kind of sit there, and um, he would pantomime this song. I can't
Okay.
remember the name of it. Something about "I will always love you," blah
Oh,
blah blah. It was a great skit. I don't know how many times we did it at Kirkwood, um, but I didn't know they'd put ice water in that bucket. A few times that ice water hit me, and I just about, when he would scrub down there, I would just go crazy. Yeah, that would
okay.
have been me.
All right.
Um, in the
Oh,
wash tub.
this calling stuff is really serious. What got you into square dancing?
Yeah. My folks started taking square dance lessons. Uh, my mother was a secretary, professional secretary all her life, and on Saturday morning, I can tell you where she was at 8 o'clock Saturday morning. Every Saturday morning, she was at the beauty shop, and her beautician and her husband had started taking square dance lessons, and they wanted my mom and dad to go. And she kept after every Saturday morning. She kept after my mother. And finally, my mom said they'd go watch just to shut her up. And she told my dad, and he goes, I don't want nothing to do with that. She said, I told her we'd go watch just to shut her up. He said, okay. So they went and they came back, and I said, how was it? They said, we were the first ones on the floor. So they were taking their lessons, and I had a little cheap reel-to-reel tape recorder, like most kids had. And they asked me if I would come and make a souvenir for them and record one of their classes. I said, sure. So I sat on the foot of the stage and turned the recorder on and off. And I got intrigued with what that caller did. From his point of view is what I was seeing. And at the end of that class, after I got done, I said, could you teach me to do that? And he said, well, you'd have to learn to dance first. And I said, all right. Well, his wife had a sister, a voluptuous blonde at the age of 14, And I think I was 12. And I said, yeah, if I can dance with her. And so I did. I took lessons with her. And uh, at my last class, I did my first singing call that I had just memorized. But that's how I got started.
Wow.
I always thought I was too cool for that stuff,
Oh yeah.
but
Yeah. Well, I guess
but
with
it's
your parents,
addicting.
knowing
Do what?
what you did, they would know how to describe you. But what about your friends that didn't square dance? What?
Oh no, that hog cholera thing that came across really hurt my business. Kids at school asked me if it did, and I said, "You don't understand what I'm doing." Uh, in in high school, I used to give oral book, junior high and high school, oral book reports on sight calling or mental image calling. I would read a book and then I'd give a report on it. Nobody knew what I was saying. Nobody understood a word I said, but I'd always get an A because the teacher said, "You sure seem like you knew everything that you were talking about." And I said, "I do. It's a business." So
Jeez.
uh, I thought, well, I didn't always like to read, but I loved to read about square dance calling. And so I thought, why not? Two birds, one stone.
How old were you when you called your first dance then?
12.
Wow. And
Yeah.
you reported this all to the IRS, right? All the money you made.
They paid me, it was about 70, 75 miles away. They paid me $35. I would have paid them $35
Yeah.
to call that dance.
Yeah.
Uh, the guy that got me started, that I did an apprentice thing with for about a year, um, him and his wife were there. And, yeah, I was nervous.
Uh, so how would you describe yourself in one word?
Right now,
Yeah.
retired,
Yeah.
retired. um,
Uh,
that idea, uh, I guess my best way to describe me right now is nobody. Uh, to be somebody and want to be that limelight on the stage and entertain everybody and get the applause. That's why we all start. I mean, if people say no, that's not the right. Well, you're fibbing. Uh, you want to be up there. You want to be that center of attention and conduct whatever's going on. That makes a square dance caller. But that snowballs. If you don't watch it, as a kid, it snowballed like crazy. My calendar went from that one booking that I had to all of a sudden it started filling up. And before I was really qualified to be a caller, my calendar was getting full, you know, 35 and $50 a night. So uh, and there was an old caller named Max Forsythe.
oh yeah.
You remember Max?
Yeah.
And I cornered old Max one.
Oh, what, just a minute, Larry. I just muted you. I gotta unmute you. Can you unmute?
Unmute. There we go.
Okay,
Is that all
there you
right?
go. Yeah, you were talking about Max.
Yeah, Max Forsythe. I used to call in Indianapolis quite a bit. I only live about an hour from there, and I used to do a dance. I got stuck with the name the Kid Caller, and so this club used to put on a dance. It was uh, Granny, who was Betty Miller, a round dance leader, Betty and Clancy Miller, and then Max Forsythe was always known as the granddad of square dance calling around this area. Granny, granddad, and the kid. Anyway, I would ask Max, what did I charge? He said, charge what you think you're worth. And I'm like, that didn't answer my question. You know, I'm asking you, what should I be charging? And finally, it dawned on me, if your calendar's full, you're too cheap. If your calendar doesn't have much on there, you're too expensive. So you have to find that happy medium where you want to live. And that changes a lot as you develop in calling. It did for me. I had to, anyway.
That's that's a good point. So I guess actually, well, when you were younger, your goal was then to be a caller. Um, did you think of doing anything else when you were younger other than calling?
Mm, I was a DJ for a while. I used to do a morning DJ program over in Danville, Illinois. Uh, but it ran till 7 o'clock in the morning. I had to be at school at 8. And it's a good hour drive, and I was always running late. And supposedly, when you get out of school, you're supposed to go home and go to bed, and get up, drive to Danville, do that program, then drive back and go to school. Well, it's hard for a teenager to go home and go to bed. That just don't happen. So I was going without sleep. I was running ragged. But yeah, I did that. Early in my square dance calling career, oh, I couldn't have been much over 15. I wasn't driving yet. We went to Monticello, Illinois, and went to Jerry Hagg's dance. And I walked in and I asked him if I could record. He said yes, I could record his dance. And he had some new stuff that wasn't out yet. He said we'd have to turn it off for that. I said that's fine. And I sat there with my mouth open, watching this man call. It just amazed me. And he became my hero. Back then, young guys, we had heroes. Whether it was Roy Rogers or Zorro or whoever. Jerry Haig was mine, and I wanted to do what Jerry Haig did. I wanted that Cadillac full of clothes and trunk full of equipment, and off down the road you go. So I made that, but
Yeah.
now I'm nobody.
Well, that's interesting. There's Yolanda sent Steve Potter a link to a Larry Ward video, and it was very interesting because he too is super popular, and he in the video he made the same sort of a comment of it's really tough to being the star, and now I'm a nobody. And because of the activity going down, losing numbers and obviously the calling dates dry up after a while. So yeah, well, along that sort of a line though, as a caller, would you consider yourself an extrovert because you're a showman?
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think you have to be if you're going to be a showman. If not, you're just going to stand there and call. You may have all the rhythm and all that stuff, but you need a little pizzazz. You need a little bit of, I don't know what you call it, poise. You need to really step out there to the stage.
Well, what about when you come off the stage, or if you go into another person's dance and they don't really know who you are? Are you an extrovert in that situation?
No, I'm an introvert there. I always said that the ego belongs on the stage.
Well, that's
Once
good.
you step off, come off the stage, that goes away. And doing festivals and stuff, when my turn on the stage, get back, charge now. This is my show. But as soon as you step off, you have to go back because you're with the people. You're with the people that you're entertaining, and you want to be one of them.
Ah,
You want to, be a joke teller and say something about, recognizing them when they were dancing or something like that. That uh, I remember telling a couple one time. I said they were round dancing, and I said, I hope y'all make love better than you round dance. And they just broke up. They had to walk off the floor. I told them why they were dancing,
jeez.
but
Okay.
I knew them real well.
Yeah. Jeez. Oh my. What was the favorite thing about what you did? What was the favorite kind of, was it patter, singing calls, whatever?
Oh, definitely singing calls. Um, the road tunes, the show tunes. Those are the ones that you know people recognized you by, and yeah, those were the highlights of your evening there. Uh, you can do we used to plan our you know program is come on with a bang and then back up a little bit and smooth out and build to a peak in the middle and back down a little bit and build to another peak on the end. That was the basic format. But yeah, those singing calls were the ones that I liked.
Mm. Well, you sure made a lot of them. Uh,
I did.
yeah, yeah. Um, do you have a one most embarrassing episode in your calling career? I mean, hmm,
uh, I guess it would have to be. It was. I forget where it was at. My mom and dad had taken me there because I couldn't drive yet, and I went to the bathroom and my zipper broke, and I'm waiting and waiting. I thought, oh my, what am I going to do? And finally, my dad came in there and he goes, "Are you okay?" And I said, "My zipper broke." And I mean, it was just busted wide open. So he said, "Here, you put on my pants and I'll put on yours and I'll figure out something. Tell your mother." And I said, "Okay." So yeah, that was kind of embarrassing. Luckily, I had on black pants and so did my dad, so people didn't notice much. But I knew, and that was the embarrassing part.
oh, yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, people try to embarrass you while you're on stage,
Oh, yeah.
and as you know, always somebody would come up and hand you a note said your fly's open,
Oh,
and this lady came up to me. I found the trick to stop this. Lady came up to me and handed me a note, and I opened it up, and she's starting to walk away, and it says your fly's open. I knew it was not. I said, Holiday Inn, room 106. And she turned about 10 shades of red, and people just roared and laughed. And I don't think she ever did that again. But
oh,
have fun along the trail.
that's good. So was there any particular time when you had a call a dance and something sad had happened in your life that made it a tough dance to call?
Oh, yeah. I've had friends and family that, right before the dance, you get a phone call and somebody had died. And, um, maybe something that didn't mean as much, but newly married, it meant a lot. Uh, we used to, my wife used to work for Home for Friendless Animals, and our backyard butted up against 465 Interstate in Indianapolis. Well, somehow or another, all the dogs had got out. We had 6 dogs that we were housing at the time, and they all got out. And I think I'm in Chicago. I think that's where I was at. And I'm backstage getting ready to go on. They're doing rounds. And I get a phone call, and it's her. She says, she's crying and screaming. She said, all the dogs got out. I said, well, calm down, calm down. I said, I don't know what I can do. I'm in Chicago. And she goes, I know, I'm always here dealing with this. And I said, have you fed them yet? She said, no. I said, well, go ahead and feed them and leave the gates open. So I called her at the end of the dance and I said, they all come home? Yeah, they came home. So, but, I mean, 5 minutes before you go on, there's a big problem here. So,
Yeah.
but yes, I've had to call dances knowing that somebody just passed away, and that's tough.
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh, I've
That's
had
really.
dancers want me to sing at their spouse's funeral.
Oh, really?
I can't do that. I'm sorry. That's
Mm.
not me. Yeah, that's, everybody'd have to stand up and join hands and circle left. Then I might ease a bit, but
Yeah. We,
I couldn't sing at a funeral.
I guess you'd have to pick the right singing call, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your time hasn't come yet, baby. Doesn't come to mine.
Yeah. And Glory Hallelujah doesn't do it either. Um,
Right.
uh, I forgot what. Oh, yeah. So, what if you could hang on to one memory from your calling days? Is there any one in particular? I'm sure there's a lot of them, but is there any one in particular that you can remember right now that you'd like to hold on to?
Oh, there's some that I don't think I could wash them out of my mind. Uh, First time calling in Saudi Arabia was, I'll always remember that. I remember the whole trip. That's the first time I ever went to a third world country. And of course, it wasn't for the Saudis, it was for the Americans, Swedish, British that were working over there. And they paid real well. So I enjoyed calling for them. But yeah, I got to go to the gold souks and buy 18 karat gold over there.
Oh,
Um, and experience that third world country. I got a story about it that I was going all over Saudi. And I think I was going from Abha to Dhahran. And since things are a lot cheaper over there, it's a test market for a lot of things, electronics and cameras. And I had been looking for this back then, the AE 1000 Canon camera, 35 millimeter. And I bought one, and I had all kinds of stuff I bought with it, the case and zoom lenses and what have you, filters. Anyway, so I get off in Abha and I got this camera around my neck. And I took some pictures over there. It looked like the desert and looked like our Grand Canyon. They have some type of thing over there like that. And I'm snapping pictures of that. So when I get off at the airport, they stopped me. And they said, wait. I said, wait for what? And they said, set. I said, oh, long wait. So I could see the guy through the glass windows that was to pick me up. Um, and we went, I had to go with this MP in a Jeep to this place. And as I went by him, I said, if I'm not back in 1 hour, I said, get somebody to get me out of here. And so we went to a school and they were sitting on the floor. So I sat on the floor and the guy didn't know very much English, but he said, film. I said, okay. So I took out the film and I rolled it up in the camera and I took it out. And instead of rolling it and leaving the tail sticking out of those little canisters, I rolled it all up in there and I gave it to him. And he went like this to pull it apart, to open it. Well, I didn't know how to open those little canisters. And I'm trying with my teeth. And finally, I thought, okay, it's time to make these guys laugh or I ain't getting out of here. So I put it on the floor and I took off my cowboy boot and I started beating this canister with my cowboy boot. And I looked at it and I went, and I handed the whole thing to him. I said, I can't open it. And he laughed. Everybody around there was chuckling, and put my boot back on, and he rattled some keys, and the driver said, come. He said, go. They took me back, and that was all I heard of. And I guess you're not allowed to have cameras in the airport there. Didn't know that. So stuff like that you'll never forget, because that could have been real bad. Uh, I never did panic because I thought that'd be the last thing I need to do here. Mid America was always a good festival every year in Louisville. Kirkwood Lodge. You know, I enjoyed working at Kirkwood every year. Used to work with Ronnie Snyder and Frank Lane and Flippo myself. And I really enjoyed that. I learned to play poker at Kirkwood. Every night we go down and play nickel poker, nickel bet quarter limit. And I didn't know how to play, so they were teaching me and took my money. But finally, I learned enough to start winning a few pots. I guess that's some of it. Calling in Anaheim to 40,000.
Oh yeah.
That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many cruises. We used to promote a cruise every other year, and one time we had almost 1,200 dancers on the cruise, and that was a great time.
Mm.
You know, that paid well.
Yeah. Those were the days, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And of course, calling in South Texas at the parks down there.
Yeah.
You know, you never forget those. In fact,
Where-
I'm considering going back down that direction to retire.
Oh yeah. Where did you call in Texas? What parks were you calling there?
Tip of Texas, Plantation South,
Okay.
and used to go down towards the other end, do one called Park Place.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
you know, things would change. And so I found another park, and I said, let's find another market.
Mhm.
That's a completely different market down on the other end.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, there's not as much in that neck of the woods, square dance wise. Seems to be all up in the Mission, far sort of an area.
right.
Yeah.
It used to be quite a bit down around Harlingen, but it's dried up.
Yeah.
Bobby Newman used to be down there. Tom Roper used to be down there. Jerry Rash
Oh yeah. Well,
used to be down
Jerry's
there.
down in Harlingen. It's quite a ways away. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's
Yeah.
over at Harlingen. That's close to where that Park Place was
Okay.
at that I
Yeah.
called for. In fact, when I left there, I gave that park to Jerry Rash.
Oh really? Oh my. He tried to give
Yeah.
it to me. Something to do with his name. He was giving Rash away. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Everybody
went.
caught a rash.
Yeah. Yeah. It looked like a good idea at the time, but I had too many bookings at home, so skip that. Um, so do you do on the internet? Do you Google much stuff?
No, not really.
What was the last thing you
Unless I'm wanting to
Googled?
buy something, then
Oh, okay.
uh, probably mobile homes in South Texas and the Rio
Oh, yeah.
Grande Valley.
Oh, I ought to find
Yeah.
out if you got some there. Yeah, some sounds like a good place to go again. I was
Yeah,
down
I
there
want to see
once.
what they rank.
Uh, well, you
I
did.
just had no idea what they cost.
Okay, well, at one point though, weren't you buying up places and parks?
Well, I was buying the park models
Hmm.
and refurbishing basically having it cleaned up, put new carpet in it, and resell them. uh, now there's businesses that do that. That's what I found out on Google.
Oh,
Um, I was just, but there was just listings in the park, and I would look on there and I'd see, and what you see is the contact number information was back north somewhere. And it usually was like a mom or pop that passed away, and now the other one doesn't want to go down there. And the kids have this park model. They don't want it. They want to get rid of it. So basically, I would lowball the price and buy it, and then do all the cleanup. And the park liked it because now when it sold, those people were renting a lot again.
mhm.
So it was good for them. And my wife said, I don't believe you're taking advantage of these people. I said, I'm taking advantage of a situation. But I did look around me while I was spent 20 years in the parks calling there. And that's what I think I want for retirement is activities, things to do, people around. Uh, yeah, there's some days I don't want to talk to anybody. But most of the days you would like to communicate with some people and have your friends and stuff like that. That's your age. And
Mhm.
uh, so it made sense. Those people that stayed active lived longer.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
And that's what I want.
Super. Did you ever get nervous when you were calling?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. At first, especially. Um, yeah, I used to, when we had the turntables, uh, first tip or two, I'd have to put my hand on the turntable and pick up that needle and set it on the record. Um, Simply because I was going to go scrape and scratch. But yeah,
Uh, I
uh,
guess we all
but
read
that
that.
kind of goes away.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh,
once you've
so,
done it a few thousand times, you kind of get over that stuff.
yeah, yeah, right. So, would you rather be invisible or would you rather be able to fly without an airplane?
But do what?
Would you rather be invisible?
I don't hear you, Joe.
Okay, am
Go
I on?
ahead.
Okay. Would you rather be invisible?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay, or fly?
I
Am I
think I'd
still?
like to fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the. I get you.
You just soon fly without a plane.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. If I could fly, boy, I'd go a lot of places.
Yeah,
I'd go see a lot of people.
that's right. Uh, so have you ever jumped out of an airplane?
No, never.
No.
There's no need for that.
No. Ever fly in a hot air balloon?
No,
No. Scuba
never
dive?
wanted to.
No. Scuba dived?
No, never scuba dive. My son has done that, and
Oh yeah.
I never seen a desire. I never had a desire to go to do that.
Okay. Well, we're going to find the desire here. Have you ridden in a locomotive up front?
Yes,
Ah,
no, no, not up front.
no, but in a train sort of a thing.
Yes,
Oh,
I've
okay.
done that.
Uh, Ever dance on Broadway?
No,
No, I didn't think so.
maybe on the street there, but
Yeah, yeah. Ride a motorcycle?
yes, I did. I used to ride dirt back when I was a kid, and then my ex-wife and I had a ultra classic electric glide, full dressed hog, and used to go for putts, as we used to call it. And
Oh,
put down to go over to South Padre Island and
Oh.
have lunch and turn around and ride back.
Mm.
But we enjoyed it. I'm too old for that now. I need four wheels under me now.
Yeah.
Four.
Well, they got them with three. We'll get
Not
there.
enough.
Not enough. I think they call those cars.
Not enough.
Yeah. Um, when you were in Texas
Yes.
calling, did you make many trips down to Mexico?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we'd go to Mexico. And then, of course, my old buddy Jerry Story, he lived in Mission. And anytime we had caller buddies that came in, if they were by themselves, they wanted a nickel tour of Mexico.
Yeah.
So we would take them to Boys Town. And you could get about whatever you wanted in Boys Town, but it was some of the shows were fun to watch and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Basically, it was a block wall around a little small city, and it was full of bars and hotels, and that's about it. So
Hmm.
we'd take them over there for an hour or two and let them experience that. It's like stepping back 100 years in time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Um, it's an interesting situation there now. But uh, so do you read many books? What kind of books?
I don't. I'm working on two books right now. One is Marshall Flippo's autobiography. I'm about halfway through it, and then Willie Nelson's. Uh,
Oh,
I like reading about Willie,
yeah.
and yeah, that's about all I read.
Yeah.
That and news.
Yeah. What would you do to de-stress?
When when I was calling,
Yeah.
used to I'd come home when I lived in McAllen, Texas, and I'd want to take my wife and my son and head for South Padre Island. I've always liked being around the beach. And
Mm.
never was one to stay out there long because you know, fair skin and red hair. I turned to a French fry. So but we used to go a lot. When I traveled, uh, there for a while, I was staying at Holiday Inns everywhere I went, and I'd collect these points. Well, there was a Holiday Inn over in South Padre Island. We'd get free room. Then they changed that, uh, and there was a Sheraton. So I started staying at Sheridan's and collecting the points. And I remember going over there many a time and didn't have a motel bill, but ooh, what a bar bill. Food
Uh,
and took my son and it was his fiance at the time over there. And as we were walking in, he goes, "Yeah, this is home." So
oh,
it was worth every dime we spent over there just to hear that.
wow.
But yeah, we used to go 4 or 5 times a year just to. I told her, I said, I need a break.
Mm.
I need to not think about do do for a few days because it was every day.
Uh, when you were
And I
calling,
don't mean to, yeah,
go
I
ahead.
don't mean to belittle when I call it do do. I just got in a habit of that years ago. So
Yeah. Uh, we got to call one of them anyhow. Once a dance. Um, kind of lost my train of thought there. Yeah. Um, so do you have any particular hobbies? No.
oh yeah, I've got some guitars and I like picking on those, and I like writing novelty songs. Uh,
Oh.
some of them are serious. Uh, I wrote one about my dad, taking care of my daddy.
Mm,
Um, but not for production use, not for publicizing use. It was just something I like to write. And it told something about my life. And
mhm.
then the others, one started, she said she was a nympho. I told her was a millionaire. Maybe we lied. So things like that I thought was
Yeah.
just crazy, but I enjoyed writing them.
Oh, that's good. Well, at our age, we can really do a singing call, and it has special meaning. The one called "I Fall to Pieces."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Work on that one.
There was one that came out that said, "You stepped on my heart and squashed that sucker flat."
Oh, gee.
I could not do that song. I could not do it. I said, "No, I'll mess up." So I'm
It
not
must
going to
have been.
do that song.
Was that Daryl Clendenin's record company?
I don't think so.
No.
Payoff, Joe. Payoff.
No. Daryl's had a lot more class. Uh,
I'd have to ask. I don't know why you didn't ask Larry what part of that title that he would have messed up on.
yeah. Good point.
uh,
Well, I don't think
but
he's a millionaire. Well,
yeah,
maybe you are. Yeah. Uh,
no,
no.
you know the difference between a uh, traveling square dance caller and a large pizza. A large pizza can feed a family of four.
Oh, jeez. That's a good point.
Yeah, square dance
Um,
calling was good, and I made good money at it, but I could see it wasn't going to last. Uh, the start of the decline on it, this is way before COVID. Started decline was when they levelized stuff, and I talked to Bob Osgood one time. I said, I think it was better when you were the dictator of square dancing. He goes, I never was a dictator. And I said, no, wait a minute. When you put out the Sets in Order magazine, I used to teach right out of your book. And I remember when I got the new book, I'd have to check off the ones I've already taught. And one check meant you taught it, two meant you taught it and reviewed, three means they got it. And I'd have to catch that up each month. And I said, it was your progression. He said, well, that was by a committee. I said, who owned the magazine? He said, I did. I said, again, I liked when we had a dictatorship and I just did whatever you told me. I said, I would sure like to go back to that. Anyway, he
yeah.
laughed. He said, well, thanks. I think Bob did a lot for square dancing back in the early days.
Well, just in communications, right? You know.
Right. He put a lot of us on the same page.
Yeah. Yeah. That was always good. So, do you have any hidden talent other than playing guitar and writing writing songs?
Uh,
Tap dance?
no,
Oh, okay.
I don't think I really did. Uh, I thought I wanted to learn to play golf one time, and that didn't turn out so well. Uh, you got to play it every day. No, I really don't have any hidden talents that because I started at an early age wanting to be a square dance caller.
Hmm.
That makes a difference.
Well, and liking what you do, what? No sense of changing.
Right. Yeah, I really did love what I did. And,
Yeah.
believe it or not, some of the most fun times I enjoyed calling was changing towns every night. Next night, it's the same show. You might vary it just a little depending on the level of the dance, but basically it was the same show. Told the same jokes, and you got good at it.
Yeah.
You know, for 30 nights in a row, you got it down pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I guess you can judge the reaction too. It's usually the same, but you probably picked up extra little things along the way because of the interaction with the people.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, when I was first married, uh, or when I first started calling full time, my wife was going to go with me. And we were going to go for, about 10 days, I think. After 3 days, I had to fly her home. She said, I don't know how you do this.
Mhm.
She said, you get up and you may talk to the person in the restaurant, and you may talk to the person at the gas station, and then you go to another motel and you do the same thing again. I said, if it wasn't for getting to do the dance, I couldn't do this. So, absolutely. Anyway, she said, I can't handle this. So we pulled into a city. I bought her a ticket and called her dad and said, can you pick her up at the airport? She'll be in such time. So she flew home.
Oh my.
She wasn't mad. She just said, I can't handle this.
Yeah. So being on the road like that, how did you handle the loneliness? Because there would be loneliness. Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you about it.
Okay, we got that answer.
Home. I mean, back in the day before we had cell phones, and you had these long distance phone card numbers that you had to poke in all these numbers, and it got billed a special rate, and so I remember calling home a lot, especially when you're on a long tour and it's like, okay, I'm ready for this to be over. But life goes on. You do what you got to do. And when you really love what you do,
Yeah.
hell, I'd come home or go to the motel and work on material. And, oh, I did this thing tonight and I don't want to forget it because I want to do that tomorrow night,
Mhm.
just stumbled into something.
Mhm.
Or I thought, that would have been a good place if you had a get out to go right in there. So I would come up with a get out.
Mhm.
Practicing singing calls was, I did that via Handhurst tape service. I'd always get my tape and I'd play it in the car. Whether I liked the song or not, I learned it just for something to do driving. And you never know who you're going to work with. And somebody goes, well, this is my favorite song. And you go, oh, yeah, I remember learning that. So everybody, you know the song? Yeah, I know it. So keep yourself busy.
Yeah. Yeah. So when did you actually retire, and did you go cold turkey?
Yeah, I went cold turkey when I got divorced about 15 years ago. Um, square dancing didn't cause my divorce. I let square dancing control me, and that caused my divorce. And I don't think it's right that you should marry someone then leave her at home all the time and be gone. That's just not right. Um, so when that started coming down, that's when I decided, I'm getting out of calling. That's just not enough.
Mm-hmm.
But uh, surprisingly, we've been talking quite a bit lately, and this has not dyed in the wool. But we're going to make a trip to New York to see our son and daughter-in-law in April for 8 days, 9 days. And she's going to fly she lives in Texas. And of course, I live in Indiana. And we're going to meet there. And we're staying at an Airbnb apartment, 2-bedroom apartment. And see how things go. But that she got remarried, and now we're talking about maybe both retiring in South Texas.
Uh-huh.
So that's my new project, is find a place where we would both like, you know.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Um, I'll ask you one last question, and then we'll open it up to the group here. What would you like to be remembered for?
Somebody that had a good time, that made the whole room have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's, you know, being fun is probably the best I can come up with something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great activity for that. That's for sure. Okay, folks, why don't you can use either raise your hand or hit the little hand waiver signal and uh, see what question you want to ask Larry.
Okay, goodbye.
This always happens. It really does. Everybody's like, Joe asked all the questions I would have thought of. Wow, what a great interviewer. I feel so incompetent in this role. You know, give me a mic, give me some dancers. You know, circle left. But interviewing, well, but it's
Or something.
okay.
It's
Good.
hard to, when he's passing on all of this stuff and not hit my little button here and say, this is right. But the one thing that got me chuckling here was when you were talking about not being normal. We were told that. I was told that by Sharon Junk, Jerry Junk's wife. You guys are not normal to do what we did. Spend all summer on the road and then all winter calling down south. Nobody should enjoy it as much as you do.
Hallelujah. Mine used to say the same
Well,
thing.
hey, what a blessing to be able to
Yeah.
do something like that. Well,
One time in South Texas, somebody videotaped my dance. And so they gave me the tape to bring home that night after the dance. And I'd done 3 sessions that day, like you say. And um, I went home, had a little snack. And while I was eating that, I was watching my dance. And my wife, she said, I don't believe you. You do 3 sessions a day and you come home and watch yourself on video calling a dance. So
you're not normal.
yeah, you're not normal. You have to love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you didn't love it, then you'll be out soon.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, if we don't, oh, there's Mickey. Go, Mickey. Ask away. Go for
Hi,
it.
Larry. It's been a long time. I met you in Munich a long time
Oh.
ago with the other gang, Jerry and Tony, and I think Deborah and John were there as well for the GSI
Yeah.
festival. Very much enjoyed, and I thought it was very sad that you retired. And you know, we have a lot of stars over here. They retire, but the best move they make is retire from retiring. So, is there a chance of maybe, you know, not as much, but at least pick up sometimes the microphone, because I think it's a big loss. And I still like your production of the CD. We had it and the jokes on there, and I made it mine moving across the country, being full time as well, and telling about the toothache because something. So yeah, that would be a wish that, you know, someday it'd be possible to hear you call again and do some dances.
Well, It's probably no. I won't say absolutely no, but I have no plans to do that. I went to Elmer Sheffield's, honoring him for his calling career, and they asked me to call there, and I said, no, I don't want to. And then next month, I'm going to Wade Drivers in Dallas, and they've asked me to call there, and I said, no, thank you, but I'd prefer just to go and shake Wade's hand and say, thanks for all the years that you've done, like I did with Elmer. Going back to retirement area, if I end up doing that, that was the first thing my ex-wife asked. She said, you might go back to calling. I said, no. It's not there anymore. I'm going to be honest. I called square dances for money. That's why I started. That's why I continued. The money was great. And now it's just not there. So no, I wouldn't want to do that. I would say the best you'll ever see me do or the most you ever see me do in square dance calling again would be if I was in a park somewhere teaching. Getting people. It is very rewarding to watch people that know nothing about square dancing, and all of a sudden you got them dancing, and they're having fun. That's very rewarding, regardless of the money.
That's a cool step. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, folks, I think that probably will conclude our interview for today. I want to thank Larry for putting up with some of my silly questions.
Oh, wait a minute. I got one more question.
Oh, you got a question?
You had me send you.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We got to do that.
And a lie.
Oh, yes. Okay. And I didn't put that on the poll, so I'll leave it up to you. What were the three things? It was two truths and a lie, right?
Right.
Okay. Go ahead and do you have them in front of you? Or remember what they were?
Do I?
Yeah.
I think I remember.
Okay.
If not, I'll have to look. One was played golf with Willie Nelson. And that's true. I was doing a Wednesday night dance in Austin, towards the west side there. And I was learning to play golf. I was dragging those clubs around with me. And then I was off on Thursday, and I had the weekend, had a weekend just outside Austin. So I thought, Thursday, I'm going to go to this little golf course I saw and play. And I went out to play, and it was a private course, but they said, just you? And I said, yeah. So they let me play, and I'm walking, and I'm on about the third hole. It's only 9 holes. Here come a Mercedes driving up the fairway. And I'm thinking, who in the heck does he think he is? And he caught up with me, and it was Willie Nelson. And I said, I'll be damned. I said, how do you get to drive your car out here on the fairway? He said, well, I own this. And I said, oh. So, yes, I did play golf with Willie. He said, I can either play through, or I can wait on you, or we can play through together. Just throw your clubs in the trunk. It's open. I said, you're kidding. I didn't say kidding. I said, but anyway, you're kidding me. He goes, no, I'll throw them in there. So I threw him in the trunk of Willie's car and got in. And yes, he had a big old fat one, about half burnt. And he said, he fired it up and he said, you want some? I said, oh, hell yes. So, yes, I did smoke weed with Willie. And we played golf. And so I never forget. That was something I thought about when you were asking the question. And I thought, I can't tell that.
Oh, yes, you can.
And I can't remember.
Okay, I'll see if I've got it right here. It'll take me a second, probably.
Yeah, I probably got it in my email.
That's right. That's where I'm at. I have so many admirers. So many emails. Not. Oh, here we are.
Oh, here it is.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
Um,
So let us try to figure out which
'cause you
one's
asked
the
me if I
truth
ever called them.
and which one's a lie.
Rode in the trunk of a limousine.
Okay. Or been to Cancun, Mexico 7 times.
Yes.
Okay. Let's
One
go.
of those is,
Yes, one of those is a lie. Okay. Let's have you raise your hand. How many think that riding in the trunk of a limousine was something he didn't do?
He didn't.
You think he
He
didn't?
didn't or he did?
Didn't.
Did
did
not.
not.
Did not. Okay, thank you.
Uh,
Well, actually, I think he did. I don't know the answer, by the way. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 that think you did not. So they think you've been to Cancun, Mexico 7 times. How many thinks he's been to Cancun, Mexico 7 times? Okay. Well, that seems to be
Oh,
the
yeah.
truth, but you know
More
what?
than
I think
7.
it's many, many more times than 7. Larry?
Um, riding in the back of the limousine, in the trunk of a limousine was truth. It was at Mid-America. And we were in Freedom Hall and they were going to bring us in the grand entrance. So we stopped outside the building there, all lined up, and they had us in tuxedos and limousines. And those back then we all smoked and lighting up. And I go, this just not us. This is yeah, too pretty for us. This is too good. So I turned to the limo driver and I said, I want to ride in the trunk. And he said, Mister, I've been driving a limo for 30 years. Nobody ever rented one to ride in the trunk. I said, well, I do. He goes, all right. So I crawled in the trunk and we all went in and the guy was announcing said, we seem to be missing somebody. And he popped that trunk and I come out of the trunk and that crowd roared. So yes, I did ride in the trunk of a limousine.
Okay.
As far as going to Cancun 7 times, no, I've been 8. 8 times. So
Super.
I
Yeah.
like it down there. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, Larry, what I think you ought to do is start writing your autobiography because, you know, you got, no doubt you've got many, many stories of situations and things that happen. And we all love to hear these things, you know. We live vicariously through you.
Well, life on the road is different, and it's not for everybody. I've met people in different professions, musicians especially, that they talk about living on the road, and they were big time roadies, and I can always tell. I can talk to them for 10 minutes and know if they're BSing or they really were on that road. Because once you've been there, you recognize somebody that has been there. But anyway, that's it. I hope I wasn't too boring. I mean, yeah, life of a travel caller may sound fascinating, but I can tell you without a doubt, it's not. It got to where all I could think about being on the road was going home. So now I'm home and I plan on staying there.
But the memories of all the dances, all the interactions are what you can live on in later life.
What dances?
That's the problem. Well, you got hair. That's the problem. Your the roots are clogging your brain and your memory. You gotta go bald. Not that I know anything about that.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
Well, thanks so much, Larry, for agreeing to come on, even though you've been retired for a long time. Uh, most of us remember those days very well, and the ones that are newer, hopefully they're learning from the past. Everybody,
Well, thank you. And thanks everybody for attending and listening. And I appreciate it. Good to see y'all again. And Daryl, I'll see you at 7.